Hello, my name's Johnny Vedmore, and I'm an Epstein expert. In this Epstein list, we'll be exploring the most important people in Epstein's operation from 1990 onwards. Jeffrey Epstein ran guns, sold humans, recruited leaders, groomed scientists, bought influence, and invested money from and for illicit, illegal, and surreptitious multinational Western intelligence programs. For that, he needed human fuel for the intelligence's operational fires. Epstein had to have everything how he liked it. He alone was bought 2 to 3 girls a day on average, meaning over a 10-year period, he easily committed over 8,000 crimes against girls who were brought to him via a series of trafficking channels. That human fuel had to be sourced, lured, groomed, organized, managed, and kept in line if they became a problem. Epstein had a very small group of child traffickers and madams working for him to do all of this. This is Epstein list number 3. Epstein's inner circle. First up, Galileain Maxwell. Galileain Maxwell was like her father Robert Maxwell in the way she normalized absurd or grotesque behavior. She asserted herself in the position of a friend to many of the young girls who she groomed and were at the same time being traumatized at the hands of Maxwell's supposed boyfriend. But Maxwell was also accused of committing sexual acts against young girls. The most well-renowned position Galileain Maxwell held within Epstein's operation was the equivalent of a madam. Maxwell sent out young girls to recruit even younger girls. Once brought into the fold, a groomed girl's first visit to meet Mr. Epstein often started with Maxwell. Maxwell prepared the girls for Epstein, which included dressing them up, often giving them instructions, and involved taking them to the massage room where Epstein would be waiting, nude or semi-nude. If the unexpected sight of a nude billionaire led the girls to flee, they'd find Galileain Maxwell blocking their exit. This routine yielded the results they desired. The technique saw the unit systematically lure and groom vulnerable young girls, psychologically manipulate them, trap them into a routine, and in doing so, form them into veritable sex slaves for Epstein to use in whichever way he desired. Like Robert Maxwell and her brothers and sisters, Galileain Maxwell has significant links to British, American, French, Israeli, and Canadian intelligence. Managing Epstein's illegal sex life was a full-time job. However, Galileain Maxwell had many faces, many roles, and a brazen disregard for everything moral and ethical. Still, she needed help, and her number one helper was Sarah Kellen. A key conspirator in this illegal elite grooming operation was Sarah Kellen. She was employed as Epstein's assistant and has been regularly named in court cases as a co-conspirator in the Epstein-Maxwell sexual compromise operation. Kellen was fundamental to the recruitment and grooming of young girls, as well as photographing young girls naked on behalf of Maxwell and Epstein. The West Palm Beach lawyer who represented several accusers in lawsuits targeting Kellen, Spencer T. Cooven, said she saw herself as the boss, going on to state, Sarah was really running that organization, bringing girls and getting them in and out of the Palm Beach home. Sarah Kellen grew up as a Jehovah's Witness and was reportedly married off by the age of 17 years old. Kellen was expelled from the church for allegedly leading an immoral lifestyle which included reported nude modeling. Her marriage broke down, her family cut her off, and she got the job within Epstein's operation. Kellen considered herself a victim, even suing Epstein's estate. She is now married to a famous NASCAR driver and has never faced any charges, even though she has been named in various court cases. Next up, Leslie Grath. One of the more senior members of Epstein and Maxwell's grooming gang was Leslie Grath, who was officially Epstein's executive assistant. Grath coordinated travel and transportation of Epstein and his entourage, including underage girls who were being trafficked specifically for sex. In a 2017 lawsuit, it is alleged that she was also responsible for arranging the massage itineraries of Epstein's many victims. Grath is also said to have taken steps to ensure the girls complied with the rules of behavior imposed upon them by the enterprise. Leslie Grath was treated well by Epstein and was seen to him as being a vital member of their organization. In 2004, she announced that she was pregnant and she intended to leave the group. Epstein wooed her by buying her a Mercedes and offering to pay for a full-time nanny. He told reporters at the time, "There is no way that I could lose Leslie to motherhood." Grath is understood to have been paid a salary at the time of around $200,000. Leslie Grath has never faced any charges for her central role in Epstein's operation. Nadia Masenova. One of the youngest girls who was a victim of Epstein was also one of the people who was later accused of being a willing accomplice. Nadia Masenova was a Yugoslavian teen who became known as Epstein's personal sex slave and assistant, but in Nadia's case, there appeared to be no lure involved. It's widely reported that Masenova had been purchased by Epstein. Police records suggest that investigators had indications that Masenova could have been underage herself when she was purchased by Epstein. Masenova later changed her name to Marcinko and declined to answer questions about Epstein's abuse of girls when she was deposed in a lawsuit, choosing to invoke the Fifth Amendment. Next up, Jean-Luc Brunell. It is very likely that Epstein bought Nadia Masenova from his #1 child trafficking model agent, Jean-Luc Brunell. Jean-Luc Brunell was a French modeling agent who ran a modeling agency called MC², which acted as a recruiting funnel and casting company for not only the bigger modeling agencies, but also for child trafficking billionaires. In this position, Jean-Luc Brunell had access to a stream of very young girls, many from old Soviet bloc countries. Jean-Luc Brunell makes regular appearances on the flight logs of the Lolita Express and may have been the key recruiter for Epstein's operation. On the 16th of December 2020, Brunell was at Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris boarding a flight to Dakar, Senegal, when he was placed under custody in relation to allegations of serious sexual assault, criminal conspiracy, and human trafficking involving minors. Brunell was eventually charged on the 29th of June 2021 with drugging and illegally penetrating, I can't say the R word on YouTube, a 17-year-old girl. On the 19th of February 2022, Jean-Luc Brunell was found in his prison cell. He was dead. They claimed he hanged himself. Wah, wah, wah. And that completes the list of Epstein's inner circle. Of course, there are plenty of other people involved in the day-to-day running of Jeffrey Epstein's vast empire, and many of them will come up in future Epstein lists here on Newspace with me, your host, Johnny Vedmore. You can find all the information which I used in this video in various articles on newspace.com, including Epstein 101, The Lure, Grooming and Seduction, where I go through Jeffrey Epstein and Galileain Maxwell's criminal profile according to FBI profiling techniques. Buy me a coffee, become a patron, support this work, and like, share, and follow. I've been Johnny Vedmore. Bye.